I believe that once you really have that deep, deep, deep conversation within yourself and you surrender, you will be surprised how everything in the whole entire universe will show up and take you along your journey. You will actually start your yellow brick road and you will be led to people, to places, and to things, all your needs being met. But it has to be an authentic surrender. You have to really mean it and you have to really do it. You have to surrender.
Hey, Self Care Warriors, welcome back to Hold My Purse. I'm your host, Ro, and this show is all about unapologetically putting yourself first for peace of mind and to live your best life. Now, if that's the kind of conversation you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you never miss an episode. All right. So today, this is especially an important conversation for me. So today, I'm sitting with Susan Kacvinsky and Devon Cunningham, my partners in the upcoming The Awakening Return to Self Day Retreat for a conversation about healing, the stories we carry, and what it really means to find your way back to yourself. And before we get into it, here is a journal prompt that I want you to sit with as you listen. Where in my life have I been disconnected from myself? And what would it look like to come back? I'm offering this prompt because this conversation might help you notice where you've been needing more of your own care, truth, and attention. All right, y'all, let's get this party started. So, Susan and Devin, I am so happy to have you both here. We created the Awakening Return to Self, a 1-day retreat that's designed to calm your nervous system, reconnect with your truth, and allow people to leave really feeling grounded and mentally clear. And I really am excited to open up this conversation because I think the heart behind what we're building is something that people are really, really craving right now. And when we were ideating the name, we landed on the Awakening Return to Self. And there was a lot of intentionality and thought that we really put behind this name. And we really wanted something to be powerful. When I think about returning to self, I think about coming back to who I was always meant to be. And somewhere along this journey called life, I got shaped by society, expectations, and just had to survive. And in that process, I believe I lost a big piece of myself. So for me, returning to self is really about remembering who you are and becoming the person you kind of maybe abandoned along the way. So let's start here. When each of you hear the phrase return to self, what does that mean to you personally? I
Go ahead,
start with
Devin.
you, Devin.
Start with me. Okay, so I'm Devin, everyone. I'm Devin. Go by Sacred Sounds by Devin. Back in 2017, I had a life changing or defining moment, as some would call it, and where I ended up at the crossroads of my life. And at that time, it was either go left or go right. And because now looking back at that time, that period of my life, and all that I had been through, and then, of course, as a young adult, being married and divorced and having kids and having businesses and just literally getting into a flow of life where you're just really you're functioning now. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not looking within yourself. You're giving everybody else. And by that, I mean by your family, your job, and anyone else that you can give to, and you find yourself pretty depleted. That's where I can say along the lines that I really forgot who I was. So when we get back to the phrase awakening, I feel like I had been sleepwalking and just functioning through my life until 2017. 2017, with my life defining moment, with that defining moment, becoming, as of right now, 9 years sober and just being thank you and being very, very clear and intentional about my life. There has just been so much growth and so much evolution. For me, this has just become a way of life, the work that I do. 2019, I discovered gifts that I couldn't or wasn't able to find due to my sleepwalking. Ended up doing some beautiful work in Ecuador, which brought me back to self, which
Mm,
my awakening and to my journey that I'm currently on with sound healing and all of the other organizations that I am working with right now, allowing myself to shine a light to help people see their light so that they can get on their journey to do their work. That's what awakening means to me. Susan?
I love that.
I have kind of similar take on this. In 1997, after 10 years working in pastoral care and being a science of mind practitioner at Agape, and thinking I knew spirit, prayer, who I was as a spiritual teacher, as a leader of retreats, I met a teacher who was so awake and so clear that just meeting her blew everything out. All of
Wow.
a sudden, I just realized it was all like a thing I made up. It was all like a story I made up about spiritual Susan and
Mm,
who she was and what she could do. And within, I would say, a year of that meeting, I was out of every part of my life. That whole part of my life was over. And that night when I met her, I was so, and this happened in front of like 500 people. So it was all their intentionality too. And it was just like my heart was so open. I didn't know who I was. And
mm,
that was the blessing of like no longer being certain that you know who you are, especially if who you are is coming from a story that you're telling in your mind.
mm,
So on top of that, like, well, I would say under that spiritual Susan story was all the years and years and years of trauma,
mm,
really profoundly dysfunctional childhood, alcoholism, violence, all kind, like you name it. And when I woke up from that, an unraveling started, a process of unraveling started, which took me away from being spiritual in any form. I became a high school teacher in LA
mm,
public school systems. And I continued to go into silent retreat because silence is where I found the truth. It's not in the stories I'm telling. It's not in the things I'm saying about you, anybody that I know, because all of that's just projection. It's not my point of view. And I started to see everything unravel. And the more I went on silent retreat, the more those stories in my life unraveled and I got to be with the real essence of people, who they really are and who I really am.
mm,
From there, I did some plant medicine retreats, and that opened my heart further and it opened my understanding further. And then I went and got a couple of degrees and got some like academic learning and things like that. But what I understood from the awakening was when I was walking around in my classroom, there was so much love for those children. Sometimes I taught high school. At the end of my career, I taught continuation high school. And so these are the kids that are really traumatized, that are really hurt, that are falling through every crack. There were days when there was just so much love for them that I had to hide my eyes from them sometimes. And that
mm.
overwhelming love, which I've come to understand now is joy.
Mm.
That joy
Yes.
is what I am. Right? That's what I awakened to, was that joy. And that's what I want to be able to provide is like, who are you really?
Mm.
Who are you without your story? Who are you without your trauma? Who are you right now? Because while it also did involve a process of unraveling, it also didn't, right? Because when I
Mm,
saw that, when I woke up and saw that, it was real and true and nothing needed to be added. But then you're still in your life.
Mm.
wow.
So how do
Yes.
you be still with the unraveling?
I love that, Susan. And it really brings me to something bigger too, because I think so many people are feeling disconnected right now. Like
Mhm.
life feels really loud, especially right now in this political environment we're in. And people are just carrying so much. There's this sense that a lot of us are craving something deeper. So, from your perspective, and this question is for both of you, what do you think people are really craving when it comes to healing right now? What do you think that is really driving this craving to heal and feel connected with yourself?
I can say that I believe that people right now are needing to feel grounded because so
Mm,
much is being there's so much being thrown at us every single day, not just in your personal life, but in the world
Mhm.
itself. The anxiety is off the charts of most people.
mm,
When you have anxiety and you have stress, and couple that with you're not sleeping, and then couple that with there's uncertainty in the job market, there's uncertainty in the world. Now we've got wars and rumors of wars and all the things that are happening at this all simultaneously. How are people supposed to feel? How are
mm.
you supposed to feel? Well, this is not normal. Number one, to feel like you can't breathe. People aren't breathing. You're literally walking around holding your breath, waiting for the next. Like, is it? People
Yeah.
want to feel. They want to exhale. People need a place that they can feel safe. People need a place where they can block out all of the exterior and they need a place to go inside where they can pray,
Mm,
meditate, where they can open up their world around them and they can actually look and see. And I say this a lot in my meditations. You got to see what no longer serves you. You can
yes.
run through your life with 10,000 extra pounds on your back and you're trying to run a race. You've got to start assessing what is it that I can delete? What is it that no longer serves me? Where can I feel lighter? Where can I move? Right now, intentionality in your life and the way that you're moving through is imperative. So
Mm,
I believe people are looking for number one, healing. They need a soft place to land, a safe, nurturing space to be in with like minded individuals where the common goal is peace, healing, and getting tools to help navigate.
yeah, I agree with you. Susan, what are your thoughts? What do you think people are craving from healing?
I think since the world has gone crazy and stuff,
Yes,
I would also point out though that the world has always been crazy.
true.
It's never been like, at least not in my lifetime in the United States, it's never been the thing that we're fed, right? We're fed this mythology of the United States, and it isn't that for all people, and it isn't that for hardly anyone. It never has been, but is an escalation of the chaos and bad intentions. And I think that and flooding the zone,
Mm,
that's being done purposely. And I think part of the reason it's being done purposely is because a population that's terrified can be controlled. And
yes.
so what people need, I think, is to wake up to the understanding of who they really are, to be able to drop down into that and hold calmness, because that's what the entire culture needs. Not just you and your family. Well, of course, you and your family need that, right? You need to be able to hold the calm and the peace in your own heart. If you do that, and she does that, and she does that, and she does that, it creates a force,
Mm,
right? That carries us. And it's a force also that you can tap into. So I think what people need is the tools. Yes, tools for sure, but the awareness of how to tap into that level of peace and how to be that, because that's your true nature, right? To
mhm, mhm.
be that peace and that calm. And joy is radical. Like, to be joy in this moment is a radical act. And to be able to do that, you connect with all the other people who are able to do that. And that lifts everything. It lifts the entire culture. But it starts with you and your seed and your family and your life and your circumstances. Changes the way you react to the person that's coming at you. If you're coming from a headspace, it might be, something sharp. But if it's coming from a heart space, it could come out as, let's sit down and just talk, right? There's a
Mhm,
way that we can be the antidote, because community is the antidote to what's happening now. The thing they can't control is community, the caring community, right? That
mhm.
loves. You look at what's happening in Minneapolis, what turns the tide? It's a loving community, right?
That's right.
Knowing who you are is the cornerstone of that. Those people know who they are and they know what's important to them.
And they
And that
showed the world, didn't they? Like,
taught
they were not
everybody.
playing. I
They
love that.
taught everybody
Little
how.
Minneapolis, you
Yep,
know? I
respect.
love
They taught them
Yeah.
what to do. And that's what we need to do is go inside and find that love and find that
Mhm.
peace and find that fierce, because that's one of the things I learned about leaving a spiritual community is that it isn't all just, these passive sweet emotions, that you can be strength too. You can be truth. And
Mm,
all of it, it's like if you're open and clear and awake, if what wants to come through you is stop, then you don't have to go up in your head and go, should I say stop? Should I? That's a little harsh. I don't know. You have this
Right.
whole conversation with yourself and the moment's gone. But if you're
Mhm.
just open, what can come out of your mouth is, this needs to stop now. Or
Mhm.
what comes out of your mouth is, let me love you. It depends on the circumstance, but you're not deciding. It comes through your open heart, the perfect
Mhm.
response. That's what I call grace. Just to get to that spontaneity, there has to be no story that's going, it's not nice. Like, I can't say that. You have to be able to come from your heart and say what's there to be said. And
That's
that's
powerful.
awake, man. You're awake if you
mm,
can do that. And then
agree.
if you trust it, then you know that if what comes out of your mouth is some prior conditioning and not the truth, then you can say, I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. And you can move on from there. But you don't have to be all like worried about everything,
Mhm.
because in the moment you have power to say yes, to say no, to say I'm sorry, to say let's find a better way. Whatever's true.
Wow, that is so powerful, and I heard several things like truth, power, grace, and I wonder if we heal as a collective, and you
Uh-huh.
talked about community, heal as a collective, like you said, we could really make strides and get past this moment in ways if we're all connected together. But, there are those that benefit from this division, so, here we are. Susan, you wrote something in the about section of your website that just hit me. It said, and you wrote, "If you knew big brassy me."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that line struck me because it speaks to how even the boldest part of you can still really get buried in life, in fear, and lack of safety, and it
Mhm.
just kind of shapes your story.
Yeah.
So,
Conditioning, especially as a
exactly.
woman in this culture. I was
Right.
so conditioned because I am big and brassy. That's the very first wing clipping that takes place is from your mother, who's like,
Mhm.
that's not very attractive.
That's what I'm saying. So how do those, like, inherited stories
How many times have
so
you been told to smile more in your life?
exactly. But how does those inherited stories, like, culturally, socially, from your mom, politically, how do they influence the way people relate to themselves and keep themselves from
That's
fully being who they are?
That's the story, right? That's
Yes.
the overlay. So you're putting a mental overlay on your experience by deciding before something even comes out of your mouth, whether it's
Mhm.
acceptable or not. And I call it the editor too sometimes. There's
Wow.
there's a little Susan up there on a hamster wheel who's deciding, how will I
Mm.
be loved? How will I be okay? How will I and it's evaluating, and this is projection. So I look at the tight thing you just did with your jaw and I go, "Oh, he's mad at me. I'm in trouble." Right? And then we
Mm.
go, oh, back into that story or whatever. It's all the conditioning from childhood. But when
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
wake up, that stuff unravels. And in my experience, it unravels in like little experiences. So it puts you in this gentle experience where you have an opportunity to do the thing the old way or to not do the thing the old way, to do it a
Mhm.
new way, or to not do the thing at all. And then you get to see if I don't engage like that, everything changes. Everything is
Yeah.
different, right? Everything. And then those recoveries, and that's grace too, that brings you those experiences one at a time, one after another. Because there's no, like, at least not yet, and not in anybody I've ever met, is there an enlightenment where
Mhm.
you no longer are going to have trouble, where you're
Mm,
no longer
Right.
going to be human, where you're no longer going to have a partner who did something that hurts you, right? Or that you're not going to do something that hurts other people. So how do you be with all the mess of being human? And I think it's by coming out of the story and being true to your own heart and saying what's true. and
I
being open. That
Yeah,
was
and
it.
that's part of what you're gonna do at the retreat, right? This self-inquiry. Can you
Right.
kinda, like, share what that is and what folks can expect from that?
Well, the inquiry is, "Who are you?" Right?
Mhm,
And so there's a journaling way of doing that where you write about, and I did this for years, where you sit down in the morning and you write about what's going on, what's in your awareness, what's bothering you, what you want, and all
mhm,
these things, right? The story, and then skip a line and write, and who am I?
mhm,
Right? And to stay with that, and who am I? And who
yeah,
am I? And who am I in the looking? Right? Another
mhm,
question is, what do you want? So say you want money. Just be honest about it. I want money. I've never had money. I was poor for so long. I want money was my thing for a long time, you know? Um, if you had money, what would it give you?
mm. I say that
So
all the time, I'm like, "Freedom?"
freedom, right? My answer to that question was safety, though,
Mhm,
because I grew up in domestic violence. What I
mhm,
wanted was safety. So if I had all the money in the world or whatever, no one could hurt me. I'll be safe. I'll have my own house, my own stuff, enough money to pay my bills. If somebody wanted to, sue me or do something, I could handle it. Whatever you could imagine, I could handle it. So my meditation for a long time was, you are already safe.
mm,
Yeah, the answer to that question. So open heart meditation. And
mm,
now it's like, it's joy.
Mm.
Right, so when I open my heart in the morning now, I'm the sky, and weather comes into it, thunderstorms even come into it,
mm,
but the thunderstorms move out and the sky is not touched by the thunderstorm. The sky is still the sky, and the sky is joy. That's what it is. And grief can come up. You know this, Devin. I know you do. The grief and whatever needs to come up in this moment, because we're still human, can come
mm,
up inside that sky, which is joy, or any of the other divine attributes, because maybe for you it's peace, maybe it's beauty, you know? Right action is a
mhm,
divine attribute, which is what I think we need culturally, right?
yeah,
Divine action. So
agreed,
to live from who you are, then the more your awareness is on who you really are, the bigger your sky gets.
whew, that's powerful.
Right. So I could be walking around a high school classroom and have a 17-year-old boy who doesn't trust me from anybody because I remind him of his mother and I'm white or whatever it was, and he can look at me and say the nastiest thing. And I can sit down beside him and say, honey, what's wrong? And
Mm,
then that tough guy is doing this because he said it to joy. He didn't say it to some woman who's afraid of him, who wants to control him, because that's most of it. Well, why do we want to control other people? Because we're afraid. So it's all the
yep,
same thing. Right, right.
mhm.
Tell me what hurt your heart this morning, please.
Wow,
Beautiful.
that's so good. That's so powerful.
It
When
is.
we think of yeah, when we think about like stories is kind of what we're carrying, but healing is also like in the body.
Mm.
And it can live only it
There's no
can't
other
just live
way.
in our minds, right? It lives in our body and our minds. And that brings me kind of to you, Devin. For someone who never experienced a sound healing before, what actually happens in the body and the mind during a sound bowl experience, and what makes it such a powerful tool for healing?
There's many, many things that happen in the mind and the body of a sound bowl. A
Yeah.
lot of them, I can tell you a lot of it is totally your experience because everybody's experience within a sound bowl healing or sound bath healing, they go by both. There's just different things within each person that are unlike any two people. It's kind of like it's a journey. It's an individual journey of one's life, and it's all about you because in the silence of the meditation, the only thing you're listening to is a divine frequency and vibration of the sound bowls, which is something that is very divine because divine wisdom, divine guidance, and knowledge, answers come in those sessions. You're beginning to cleanse and clear your spiritual tools. So your main chakras are being affected by the frequency. And what I mean
Mm,
affected is it's allowing energy that's been stuck to move through the body, to move through the cells, to release the anxiety and the tensions. It's giving you such a deep sense of relaxation that you have no choice but to become peaceful. You
mm,
have a lot of thoughts that are coming up, a lot of thoughts that you probably forgot that you had because now these thoughts are coming so far back in your past where
Mhm.
it could be 2 or 3 years old that you're having memories of things that you either chose to forget, chose to push down because it's too painful to look at, or sometimes it's just a beautiful thought that comes up that's a tool that's going to help you deal with whatever situation that's presently happening in your there's a
Mhm.
lot of things that happen. Now I can tell you the basics of it, it's going to reduce stress and tensions within the body, and it's going to help you to relax deeper. You're going to have a better night's rest. But what's really happening is you're being connected,
Mm.
back connected to source, back connected to the universe, back connected to your ancestors, back connected to your angel guides, your spirit guides, and basically the whole entire universe. They're always, there was a beep, beep. I heard that.
It's a whole lot going on, a lot of connection.
Well,
The universe is chiming in.
that was confirmation. They're always trying to get your attention, but you cannot hear it because you're being distracted. You're
Yes.
being distracted by your jobs, you're being distracted by
Mhm.
your family, you're being distracted by, maybe you're drinking. I know I was distracted all of my life by too much wine. Too much wine. I was a binge drinker. I had very, very stressful situations taking place all in my life, every area of my life. And because I didn't know of a tool, I mean, I've always been very spiritual. I believed in God. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Buddhism. I believe in Christianity. I believe in Catholicism. There's so many different things about
Mhm.
religion that I have taken from me. Now, I don't resonate with all of it, but I have taken what works for me and what feels good to my soul. And I have combined that into who I am and the work that I do. I allow people to come in and bring what their beliefs are because sound healing is not about a religious practice. I want to say that. It's not going to change your belief system. It's not going to make you believe these bowls are now my source. The bowls are a great source. They're a tool. They can be added to give you the peace of mind so that you can remember to pray.
Mhm.
Most people are forgetting to even pray when they wake up. They're forgetting to pray when they go to sleep because you're so distracted and stressed with just, we're running through our lives. We get up in the morning and we run through the life and we come home and we deal with the family or deal with whatever we're dealing with. We pass out, we come to, and we jump right back on, I'll call it the hamster wheel as well. And
Yeah.
that's life is going. And you're running through your life. Look how quick these years are going. They're
Mhm.
going by so fast because we're not stopping to smell the roses.
Gotta be present.
You're not present. And that was
Mhm.
the biggest thing that was so magnificent for me when I went through my sobriety journey. I was present for the first time that I can remember since a kid. Like, that was so joyous to me to be like, "Whoa." I'll never forget. I was in the mountains of Ecuador, and it was a beautiful day, and I came out of our cabin to go to one of our, a sweat lodge day. And I remember just standing in the middle of this beautiful mountain, and I'm looking around, and these clouds are coming through, and everything was so green, and it was just beauty that I hadn't stopped to take in, and I was like, "My God, I'm alive."
Wow.
Prior to that trip to Ecuador, well, actually prior to, because I did a few healing journeys here in the States that were magnificent as well. I worked with, some amazing shaman here and in Ecuador, and, they really put me back in touch with source. They gave me my life back. I remembered who I was. I remembered the gift that I have, and that's another thing I wanna say about gifts. All of us, everyone within the sound of my voice, you have an amazing gift. Whether you're choosing to use it or not is a different thing. Through meditation, through prayer, through you, putting the distractions of life to the back of your life and giving yourself a chance to just even think clearly, you'll be surprised at the things that'll come up about yourself. You're magnificent as well, and you were put on this earth, especially for a time like this, to shine your light. You are here to work to bring peace and joy and harmony onto this planet right now. It's free will. I
Yeah.
chose to do my work. And through that choice, it put me into the sound healing, which was a gift that I had. I am the daughter of a musician, and I was the daughter of my mother who recently passed, who was an amazing woman. She was a writer, an actress, an educator, and she did many more things. And I'm still finding out a lot of things as I continue to go through boxes that I'm finding. That woman had more certificates on this planet than I've ever known. I didn't even know
Mm.
how she had until now. So I encourage you to do your work. I encourage you to, if you can't meditate, if you can't go and be in community, at least when you come home from work and you're stressed out and you can't think straight, before you turn on the TV, I encourage you to turn off the phone. If you have to go into a bathroom or a closet and shut off the light, if you have family members there, I encourage you to do that, to honor yourself so that you can remember why you were here.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
so powerful. As both of you were talking, I always feel like there's a reason that people get into this kind of work, right?
Right.
It's something that kind of calls them to step into it. I know for me, that moment was I realized I wasn't feeling any real joy. So I was happy to hear you talk about joy, Susan. I just wasn't feeling it. And I
Mhm.
was working these jobs that just depleted me, dating emotionally unavailable men. And
Mhm.
then I just like realized how I had completely abandoned parts of myself trying to fit into a society that told me how it should look. So it was like a culmination of all these things happening. Both kind of said it a little bit, but I'd love for you to share what was the moment that you realized you needed to reconnect with yourself in a deeper
Oh
way.
my god. I can tell you mine precisely. Was 28 years old, I think, 28, 29 in there, right around my Saturn return. When I dated a man, I moved across the country with him. So I grew up in New England and I moved to Los Angeles with this man, the man of my dreams, the man that, like, when we met, it was like, I used to tell my high school girls, if you have that connection with a man, go lock yourself in a closet really fast. Don't come out until you're sane.
No, that's right.
Yeah, really. So I moved all the way over across the country with him, and he played. My father died when I was 17, and he played out that experience for me again in such detail that it was like happening again. 'Cause I didn't feel it at the time when it happened. I didn't even cry. I was just, like, so bound up in everything that I couldn't, I just I would not feel it. Would not. And,
Mm,
that's where the body comes in and all Devon's talking about, like, the healing that happens in the body would not I was terrified of what was in my body. And, but I also couldn't deny that my past kept repeating itself. And I kept
mhm,
finding myself in the Groundhog Day of my
mhm.
past. And there was a moment where he had an affair with a woman back in Boston, and he was just gone from my life, like he died. And I still have never seen him again. He
Oh,
died and went back to Boston. So you're not gonna run into him anywhere, not the grocery
mhm,
store, not friends, nothing. He's gone. And I remember sitting on the porch going, "All right, I get it. I get it. Every man I date turns into my father. And
Mm,
every time I'm in this circumstance, I end up in this moment right here where there's an ocean of grief." Like I was having
mm.
dreams of tsunamis coming up
Oh,
and crashing into me. Yeah, because
mm,
that's how much emotion was being denied.
right.
How much the body I would just like, my body was a transportation device for my head, and
Mhm,
I just said, "I'm willing to heal it. It has to be
mm,
coming from me because it can't be coming from them, because it's
mhm,
too perfectly my past to be coming from them, so it's gotta be me. There's nothing else it can be, so let's heal it." And I remember feeling like this, "Okay, here we go." That kind of energy took me up on it. And I think that initial willingness to feel my feelings, to reconnect with my body, to heal the past, really, that's what it was, to heal the past, took me
mhm,
at my deepest intention. And since I was on my knees, my intention was as deep as it comes because I don't want to live here anymore.
mm.
This is what it's going to be. Not only did I have that childhood, but I have to live through it again and again and again and again and again. And I can't get out of it and I can't wake up and it's like being in a nightmare. And
yeah,
if that's what it is to be here, I don't want to be here anymore.
Gosh, I remember feeling that way too at
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah. And that's when it
Like
started.
like, "Beam me up, Scotty. I'm
Yep.
over this."
Exactly. I don't want to do
That's
it
how I
anymore.
felt.
And I sat down and I did a meditation just like help me please meditation. And I saw in my mind's eye, and I never had a vision before, and I never had like a visual, I had no experience with visualization and nothing. And I saw this door frame, and it was raw wood, not even painted, suspended in space, and the door was open. And it was just a door. And I zoomed up to the door, and this voice said, "Are you sure?" And something not my personality, something deeper than my personality said yes. And then I was through the door, and I was sitting in my going, what, sputtering, like, what did I just agree to? What just happened? And that started everything, just like a moment.
Wow. What about you, Devin? What was that moment?
Moment. Oh, man. The moment for me was because by the time that happened, which was in 20 was it 2016? I think 2016. 2016 was when I was getting pretty tired of my life,
Mm.
and I was really getting sick of the drinking, you know? I had a very stressful job at the point. I don't know if anybody's ever had a job where you just get off the job and you're so stressed out. You're just like, "Oh, God, I need a glass of wine." And you drink a glass of wine, and then that can turn into a couple, and then I had to function and get up the next day and go deal with the same craziness and, every day because I worked a lot. Many hours and sometimes 6 days a week, and that's hard, that's a hard life. I remember in 2016, I said, I gotta just stop. I've gotta figure out something other to do than this drinking." But then it couldn't really stop because the stress never stopped, and it just became a repetitive cycle, but I was sick of it. And although in 2016 I did very well because I think I only drank maybe 3 times that whole year,
Okay.
into the next year, it was that last time that I drank. And, it was very interesting. And I've shared this publicly before, so people know. But, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in the world that's had this, and I won't be the only one that does after this. But
Mm-mm.
I ended up, that last time I had a drink, I ended up getting a DUI that night.
Mhm.
Did not crash anybody, did not kill anybody, myself, or anything else. It was just one of those random things that happened. And I have to tell you, the officers that found me inebriated, and believe me, the night that they found me, I was not drunk. They could have pulled me for any other time. Like,
It's
and
like, y'all don't even know this isn't the worst one.
the first one not, you know what I mean? I don't know. As a teenager, I mean, I think I started drinking at 16 or something like that, something crazy.
Mhm.
You know how many times I've drank and driven? I'm
Mm.
ashamed to say.
Me too. I'm surprised I'm even alive. My
Yeah,
ex-husband and I used to do shots of tequila from
and then hit the
out
road.
and drive, and we like,
But
how
it's
are we
right.
alive? That was nothing but God. Like,
Yeah,
seriously.
nothing but God's grace. But I'm gonna tell you, when the universe conspires to use you, because many are chosen, and not many are
Mhm.
chosen, many are called, but the chosen are few.
All
I
are
was
called, few are
in
chosen.
2017 to do this work, so that was my calling. Those beautiful officers, I believe, they caught me because they knew this was right before the pandemic. The end of 2017 is when this happened, and I had to get fast tracked. I had to get fast tracked because the world was changing. Now it's free will. It's all free will. And I remember, I'll never forget, I was 11 hours in that situation. And I remember being in this cell and I said, if anything I do in life ends me up here,
I know
I
that's right.
don't have any part of it,
I know that's right.
period. Something I only need to do once in life. And that was one of them.
Mhm.
But it was 12 hours actually that they were gonna keep me, and it was on a Friday, so imagine that. I could have been in there until Monday, and oh my god, talk about finding Jesus real quick and fast. I was like, "Please let me out." But I, prayed hour number 11 and a half. And here's the craziest thing about it. Prior to this happening, this incident, I did not care if I woke up or not. I
Mhm.
was so over my life. I would say, if I wake up tomorrow, I wake up. If I don't, fine. My last kid was finishing college. I felt like I was in the house by myself. I lived on my own for the first time ever. And I was just over it. I'm like, now what? So I kind of put that prayer out there. And then I got hit with this. While I was in there, hour 11 and a half, I said, I prayed a prayer. I literally had a whole journey in that situation being in the confinement where I
Mhm.
literally went down my timeline. I went all the way back to the first time I ever had a drink. Behold, this I didn't know that I was actually going to be having journeys with ayahuasca shortly after this.
Mm,
So I was being prepared for that because that's what an ayahuasca journey is. It is a journey of you going back on your timeline to see why you do certain things or to show you your life and how you can become better from the things that you're being shown in those journeys. So I prayed, please, if you just let me out, I'll never do this again and I will turn my life over and I'll never have another drink. And literally 10 minutes after I prayed that prayer, I was being released.
mm.
I got home, I cried all night. I was embarrassed, I was ashamed. I hid from my friends for a long time because they wanted to go out drinking, and I was like, "Nope, can't do that."
Right.
I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to be around anybody because at that point I had been sequestered. So you can now really look at your life. And the beginning of 2019 ended up going on my very first healing journey with a friend at the time to really look deeper within my life, which led me on about 6 or 7 more healing journeys with the ayahuasca. And at that point, I wasn't afraid to look inside of myself anymore because I needed to.
Mhm.
Like Susan was saying, with the men in that department, I was married or divorced, married, divorced, in another relationship. Same man, different pants.
Mhm.
Right?
I call him the man with 1,000 faces. Daddy with 1,000 faces, actually.
But you know what's crazy is, like, we have these stories,
Mhm.
and I feel like these stories kinda, like,
Mhm.
is why we came together
Right,
Yeah.
for this retreat, right?
right.
Because when we first started talking about it, I remember thinking like, "Okay, the awakening, return to self." What about that vision really resonated with each of you, and why did it feel important to say yes to this?
I'll tell you,
Uh
I literally have walked the journey and returned to my true self, my authentic self.
Mhm,
Now I am doing the work. I've always been very spiritual, even as a child. I mean, a young child. I love God. I love everything that is going to help you become a better self.
mm.
It's so funny. A lot of things offend a lot of people, but you know what offends me?
What's
Mean
that?
people. Mean people.
Oh, I
Mean
can't stand them mofos.
They
I'm
offend.
shutting down, I'm shutting down.
Like, why are we mean? We don't have to be mean. Mean people offend me. And I don't know, that's so funny. It's just the funniest thing. But a lot of
Mhm.
people could do a lot of things, but don't be mean.
Right. I feel you.
Something about a mean-spirited person. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I feel like there's so many things. And I'm gonna share this really quickly and then I'm gonna wrap mine up because I know we've got to get through. I just recently lost my mom this past 6 months ago, 6 months now. And then I lost a dear cousin who was more like a sister. And both of their deaths affected me two different ways. And another thing is the grief that you go.
Mhm.
And this is something that I've integrated in my sound healings because people need to have this tool of how do you move through that grief and understanding it. And what I'm learning and what I'm going to be sharing even more so as I continue to walk through my journey, because I'm not teaching you something I don't know anything about. This is my walk. This is what I'm learning. Through my mother's passing, her death, and me being in hospice with her and walking her home, literally walking her home on that journey. Her passing and her death of her passing in my arms literally gave me we both, my mother and I both, we both had a death and a rebirth at the same
Mm.
time. Her death immobilized me for a moment because it was so much to do. Like, you don't realize how much you love someone until that happens. And I encourage people that aren't getting along with their moms or they have this going on, be patient.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I was so patient with my mom in the end because I was with her for 7 years, and I'm so grateful for that journey. I learned so much, healed so much. She healed as well because we had some conversations that would have never happened. I'm at peace. I'm at peace now. I wasn't at peace when she passed because I didn't who wants their mother to pass away? I was not ready for that. I don't my mother was supposed to be with me forever. Like, she was my rock. She was my person that I could call her at any given day or time. Didn't matter if we lived together, we always talked. But I'm so grateful that I went home to help her on that journey because as time goes on and the grief begins to lighten its grip, I see so many blessings and so many lessons, both of us. And I still feel very connected to her essence, even in this time of 6 months later. My cousin's passing was so abrupt that it jolted me back into my life because I said, my God, my cousin literally, it happened like the snap of a finger. I talked to her 1 hour and then 2 hours later she had passed
Mm.
and it was unexpected. But what I got out of her passing was that we don't know the day, the hour, nor the time. You can be so happy and be gone 5 minutes later. So what that said to me was, you have got to live right now because this is the only time that we have. Every day that we wake up, if you're still here on this earth, every day that you wake up, that's your day to do it better, to make a difference,
Amen.
to live your dreams. For me, I just got back from traveling to have my cousin's service, and what I came back with was in my heart. I said, you know what? My cousin wouldn't want me to be sad because she was with me with my mother's passing. And she didn't want me to be sad with my mother, and she was giving me a way to move on. My cousin would want me to come back here and really do my work, really go hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back now in pursuit of joy. I'm in pursuit of happiness because I don't have tomorrow. I don't have a year to grieve and stop my life and hide under the covers and in the bed. And so, into the work that I'm bringing forward to those that are coming to my sessions or to this retreat, and you have grief on your heart, I am here to be a beacon of hope. We are here to be a beacon of hope because you have your own journeys that you have contracted to be here for in such a time as this. So we're here to help you move forward, to honor your grief, but to also honor the ones that have passed on and live full, live big, live with joy, live your life, live your purpose.
Amen to that. To that. Susan, what about you? What about the vision resonated with you, and why did it feel important for you to say yes to this?
Well, because awakening is everything. And my, focus, my feeling of it is in my own life was that it was a death and a rebirth for me.
Mm,
And that's why I was so terrified of it, was because something in me was going, you're going to have to die. Like who you are is going to have to die. And
yeah,
the terrifying thing about that was it was true, right? You have to die to who you think you are to be who you really are.
that
That,
part.
yep.
Woo! Say it again, Susan.
That
That
is
is
so
you.
powerful.
Well,
Repeat that.
you have to die to who you think you are in order to be who you really are. And it brings me back to that saying that I said to you the other day, Rhonda especially, was, if you die before you die, then when you die, you won't have to die, right? So that if you're awake in your heart, and that is a death and rebirth, and it can be terrifying. I think
Yes.
maybe it doesn't have to be, but if you come from trauma like I do, it can be very terrifying. And I think in this culture, in the United States, most of us carry trauma. I
Mhm,
would say all of us carry trauma, but maybe there's a lucky one. I don't know. If you're coming from trauma, and this is a very cruel culture, so most of us are, then
mhm.
it is a death of the old self and a rebirth of the real self. And it is awakening up. Like, my God, the morning after I was touched, like this awakening, all of a sudden everything sparkled. Every
Hmm.
sound, every
Mm,
beautiful bird, every single thing. And it's what people describe when they get a diagnosis or something like that, of how precious life
mhm,
is, to just be
mhm.
aware that I have 6 weeks to live. And oh my God, look how beautiful it is, right? It was
Yes.
like
Mhm.
that. And so that I think is the rebirth. And then how, right? So I used to say to my teacher, how do you stop? How do you stop? And she'd say, there's no how to stop, and you just stop. What
Yep.
does that mean? And it's like, she says, if you're clenching your fist, stop clenching.
Open. Just
Yeah,
open.
just stop clenching. And that too. Just stop clenching. And then what's yours will come to you. It's
Mm,
amazing how it comes to you. And what's not yours, gonna leave
Hmm.
mhm.
and bless it on its way out. And I would
Yes.
Blessed on this
and
way
I would
out.
say mean people are hurt people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree
And
with
that
you on
there's a
Yeah.
that.
way to love that hurtness. And I've seen the meanness in my own heart.
Mhm. Me
I could
too.
I had moments.
I think we all have moments,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I'm
think
not
we
gonna
do too.
lie,
Yeah,
I know
no.
prior to becoming
But
this
I think
version.
as a culture, we have a lot of narcissism.
Oh
And
gosh,
and right
yes.
now, the narcissism is in charge.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to wake up from, right? It's that trauma that creates narcissism and the willingness to suffer it, to suffer our own death and rebirth into joy. And then from there, you create your life, and every single thing that you touch is blessed from now on.
Amen. So,
Yeah,
amen.
And I say that too because it's more so, you can tell someone all day
you
long,
can.
how they should, or I don't even tell anyone how to do anything anymore.
Right.
You know what? It's about leading by example. It's just lead by example. Live your life, do what's right to you, and you'll touch more people by the way that you choose to move forward in your life and leading the way that you lead through your life. I
And
think that's
if
more
you've
powerful.
surrendered, the places that you go are the places that need you. Like
Mm,
you're led to the places and the people that not only that you need each other, like you need them, you're born with a gift, you need to give it. It's
You
it's
not,
found your
funny.
tribe.
yeah, you
You found
can't,
your
everything that you give, it comes through you first. So if you're
Mm,
giving love, it has to come through you. That means you're living inside love. Well,
and you
that's the
attract it.
best there is.
right.
That's it. That's
That
what
is
you
it.
want, right? That's what you can be too. Every single person can be that.
And that's all I've ever wanted. In the marriages, in the
Right.
family dynamic, and the all
Right.
I've ever wanted was love.
Right.
That's so hard.
Right. Right.
For me, it's
Turns out it is if you're living with a big story and you have like a point of view and you're projecting your stuff all over the world. It is hard. It's almost impossible, as
Okay.
all of us have found out, right? You can't do it from there.
you know what, for me, it's been like, always love, but I remember a long time ago, years ago, when I opened up my Twitter profile and it says a little bit about you. I was like, I want to live my life with peace of mind, clarity, and laughter.
Beautiful.
That was it. That's
Yeah.
all I needed. Quick question, because I know we're getting close to time, but I have a few questions left. What do you hope people get when they walk away from this event?
Mhm.
What do you want them to walk away with?
I want people to walk away with a way for them to be in the heart all the time. So you can, if you set your heart open in the morning to be whatever quality you come to that you are, like mine is joy, then through your whole day, it's joy that meets you wherever you
Mhm,
go. Right.
mhm.
So I want people to have the ability to do that, to rest in their heart and be that what they really are and
I
see how it
love that.
changes everything. See how it changes the world.
I love that. And Devin, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I want people to feel grounded.
Mhm,
I want them to feel lighter. I want them to go out of the event feeling hopeful, have joy in a place that they have forgotten that was there. I want them to have that joy, a moment of where they can just say, you know what? I choose joy. I
mhm.
choose peace. And lastly, I want them to come away from there choosing themselves.
That
Right.
that's the
Right.
most important part, right? One of the things that we decided when we created this is that no phones, no phone
Right.
container.
Yes.
Right.
Why do you think it's important for people to truly disconnect from the noise
It goes
for that time?
it goes back to what I said earlier, distractions.
Mhm.
Whenever you get into an environment, I don't care what environment it is, never fails me. If I'm in a sound bath, there the noises come from everywhere.
Mm, true. The
It can
snores.
be a helicopter that decides to just
Yeah.
circle around the top of the building. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I want them to leave their phones on silent. We're not going to
Mhm,
take your phones away, but
mhm.
we do not.
No, but we're gonna pinky swear that you don't look at it all day.
Yeah, we
Right?
you not to
That's gonna
be.
be part of the commitment
Right,
and the agreement up front.
right.
This
Yes.
is centering
And
yourself.
if you can't do that, then let's look at why you can't go a whole day without looking
Mhm.
into your phone, right?
Right.
Because for me, that phone is like what it's gonna do. You can be in the most open-hearted space, and then you pull out your phone and you're back in the story. You're
Yeah,
back in the false narrative. You're back in
Mhm.
the busyness, or you're back in an addiction, because for most people, phone is an addiction. So whatever it is to you, um, you could just put it away for a one whole day. And I think that's part of the retreat thing too. It's part of
Yeah.
being on retreat. So we're going to a beautiful location that's out in nature, and you can disconnect from your phone for a day, not even 24-hour day, a day,
Just
day.
7
Chunk
hours. We
of
just want
time, yeah.
7 hours.
We
A
just want you to
7-hour
give
day.
yourself the gift of
Right.
you. This
To
is a
find
gift,
yourself, and you're not in your phone. You are not
right?
in there, right? So gazing into that mirror, it's a projection mirror. So you're gazing into that mirror, you're not being yourself.
Amen to that. And actually, that's a good segue to this question about what do you want people to know about beginning the journey back to themselves?
I'd say that most people have already started,
Mm,
that most people are not aware that they've already started. And that's like the sound bowls are so beautiful. I go every week to sound bowls with Devin.
Thank you so
Every
much.
mhm,
single week, I'm there with my bells on, and I know my true self. I live in my true self, and I'm not letting go of my story all the time anymore.
mhm.
But those it's like 45 or 50 minutes with Devin when she's playing are for me some of the deepest meditations that I have. The other
Wow.
is singing. You can't be in your mind and singing at the same time. It just does not happen. You can't do it. And that's why a lot of cultures, chanting is a big part of the spiritual tradition. Chanting is singing. And you can't be
Mm,
in your head when you're doing that. It's just not really possible. To be able to just let go, you've probably already started. Because it's this huge thing that I think is happening, not just in the United States, but all over.
The
We're
whole world.
in what the Greeks called the apocalypse, which is the revealing, right? It's like
yes.
you think you understand the banking system? Here's a little glimpse. You think education? Oh, look, all these kids can't read. The church? Oh, look, pedophiles. It's
It's an awakening of consciousness, like big time right
right.
now,
And
right?
so, yes, we're in that, and it's terrible, and it's an opportunity so that the message has gone out already. So most people who are even attracted to a retreat called the awakening or return to self are probably already started on the journey.
That
So let's
part.
give you the tools so you can keep going, so you don't lose
Mhm,
heart, so that you connect with everybody else, because this is happening everywhere,
Mhm.
right? And that we join together
mhm.
in this awakening, because the world is awakening. That's the opportunity.
Yes.
The danger is we'll fall back asleep,
No, we can't do that.
and
We
we
cannot
can't.
do
Yeah,
that.
once you're awake, you never can go back. That's the thing. It's kinda like the Matrix. It's the red pill, it's the blue pill.
Right. But
Once you take that pill,
it's
that
also
bluey,
kind of like drinking. You know, you can
Mm,
stop, but you can also have a relapse. And so we
we
just
will.
want to give people the
the
tools
tools, yep.
so that they can stay in the awakening, that they can
Mhm,
stay in the joy, because
Yeah.
that's what's required right now, that people stay grounded in the joy,
Mhm.
even
mhm.
though the world is going crazy and stuff, right?
Mhm.
That
Yes.
you can be centered in your heart and go, yep, they did it again.
Mhm.
Right.
Well,
Right.
alright, so on my show, I always like to ask this one question to my guests because my show is all about self-care and self-love, so this is for both of you. If you had to create a law around self-care and self-love that everyone had to follow, what would it be and why?
Go, Susan.
Tell the truth,
Oh, even
right?
if it hurts,
Even if it hurt, especially.
especially if it hurts.
Right? Especially if
Yes.
you're terrified to tell it and you know your whole body is trembling from the neck down, but you got this thing you gotta say and you know it's gonna hurt somebody, or you got all these stories going on in your mind about what's gonna happen if
Mhm.
you tell the truth.
Mhm.
Are they gonna see who I really am and then they can never love me again, or whatever the story is, tell it anyway.
Oh, no, that's right.
The other one is I have 2, sorry, I'm breaking the rules, but that's me.
No,
The other one is
that's the
only
brassy Susan.
that's right. That's right. The only prayer you need is, "I'm willing to feel this.
Ooh.
Whatever this is, I'm willing
Mm,
to feel this." And then just be still and feel it. You'd be
hmm.
surprised that it doesn't last as long as you think. Your brain's gonna tell you, "Oh, it's gonna always be forever, and I'll always feel this bad, and I'll" don't listen to that. It's not true.
I love that. Devin?
Well, I got 2.
Okay.
Number 1 would be surrender. That's number 1. I believe that once you really have that deep, deep, deep conversation within yourself and you surrender,
Mm.
you will be surprised how everything in the whole entire universe will show up and take you along your journey. You will actually start your yellow brick road and you
Mhm.
will be led to people, to places, and to things, all your needs being met.
Wow.
But it has to be an authentic surrender.
Mhm.
You have to really mean it and you have to really do it. You have to surrender.
Amen. I love
The
that.
next one is to honor yourselves. Because when you honor yourself, you won't be with certain people, places, and things. You will hold yourself to your highest regard. You will put God first in your life, and you will begin to go inside so that you can be co creating inside with your God self to be able to pull what's going on inside out into the physical. It'll allow you to tap into your gifts, tap in the source. It'll allow you to just be a beautiful example of whatever your gift is on this.
That's beautiful. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I want to make sure everyone knows how to find you. So, where can people connect with you?
I write on Substack. It's susankavensky.com. If you Google my name, you'll find it.
And you can find me on website is Sacred Sounds by Devon, Instagram Sacred Sounds by Devon.
I love it. I love it. I'm so excited for this
Yeah.
retreat, y'all. April 25th. As you can tell, we put our heart into this and, the intentionality and our hope and goals that you walk away feeling returned to yourself. Thank you both so much for hopping on. This conversation,
You.
this felt so like honest and grounded in love, and it was just needed. And I'm so grateful for both of you on
I'm
this
grateful for you.
joining me on this journey and us healing the world. Like we got our whole North Star that we're working towards, and we just want to help people. So thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you do in the world. I really appreciate you.
Well,
Thank you,
thank
Bonnie.
you for all the work you're doing in this world to the both of you. And for you out there, come and join us at this beautiful location in Sherman Oaks, California. It's going to be on April 25th from 9 to 4. You will have a full day of amazing facilitators. We're going to be doing some of it's going to be silent with Susan, and she has a whole morning plan for you with journaling. We also have Raven Jasmine, who's going to be leading the yoga and breath work. And then we're going to be having sound healing. And we're also going to be having chronic healing done with Terry Huberman, who is amazing. So that'll be a lot of cord cutting and energy healing and
Mhm.
just moving the body and breathing deeper and going into silence. Silence is the best way for you to hear
Bye.
all the things that you
Mhm.
need to hear from not this world, but from the universe. So you're going to be connected and you're going to be grounded and you're going to be walking away with a different perspective on your life. And you
Amen.
also get lunch.
And some sweet treats by Paris.
Yeah,
All
we'll keep you
right.
hydrated.
Well, thank you again so much, both of you. It's a wrap. See
Thank
y'all on
you.
the Twitter.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Blessings, everyone.
My goodness, what an amazing conversation. And honestly, what stays with me the most is the reminder that returning to yourself isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about peeling back the noise, the stories, the survival patterns, the grief, the pressure, and finding your way back to what's already been there. And that's your truth, your peace, your joy, and yourself. That's what made this conversation so powerful. Susan spoke to the unraveling, the courage it takes to tell the truth and let the false parts fall away. And Devin brought us back to the body, to the breath, to the healing that happens when you finally let yourself be still long enough to listen. This is real work, it's sacred work. And maybe that's where your own awakening begins too. Not in having all the answers, not in fixing everything at once, but simply noticing where you've drifted away from yourself and choosing little by little to come back. And that is exactly why we created the Awakening Return to Self Retreat. If you've been craving a space to breathe, to reset, to reconnect, and to be poured into, we'd love to have you with us on April 25th in Sherman Oaks. This retreat was created with so much care and intention and love, and we really believe it's going to be a powerful experience for people who are meant to be in that room. You can register through the link in the show notes. My goodness, what a conversation. Like, you could just feel the energy and the love. And I think what stuck with me the most is the reminder that returning to yourself, it isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about peeling back the noise, the stories, the survival patterns, the grief, and the pressure, and finding your way back to what's already been there. And that's your truth, your peace, your joy, yourself. And I think that's what made this conversation so powerful. I mean, think about it. Susan spoke to the unraveling, the courage it takes to tell the truth and let the false parts fall away. And then Devon brought us back to the body, the breath, to the healing that happens when you finally let yourself be still long enough to listen. You see, that's some real work. That's sacred work. And maybe that's where your own awakening begins too. Not in having all the answers, not in fixing everything at once, but in simply noticing where you've drifted away from yourself and choosing little by little to come back. And friends, that's exactly why we created the Awakening Return to Self retreat. If you've been craving a space to breathe, to reset, to reconnect, and to be poured into, we would love to have you join us on Saturday, April 25th in Sherman Oaks. This retreat was created with, and I'm sure you can tell, but it was created with so much care, so much intention, and honestly, so much love. And we really believe it's going to be powerful experience for people who join us. I will leave the registration link in the show notes below. So please be sure to take a look. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Now, if this episode met you where you are today, and you felt moved, make sure you subscribe to Hold My Purse and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next episode. And as always, feel free to share it with a friend who may need a reminder that they need to come back to themselves. All right, let's ground this episode with an affirmation. Let's take a deep breath. I am allowed to slow down. I am allowed to return to myself. I trust that what is meant for me will meet me in my healing. My God, that's so deep. All right, y'all. Until next time, my fabulous friends, my self-care warriors, be gentle with yourself. There is nothing weak about choosing peace, and there's nothing selfish about coming home to you. Stay aligned, stay unbothered, and hold your own damn purse. Peace. This episode is brought to you by Self-Care Shawty, your go-to for homemade skin products that keep you moisturized, healed, and at ease. Discover these amazing products today at selfcareshawty.etsy.com. That's Self-Care Shawty, SHAWTY.etsy.com.